Various kinds of films made over a period of 50 years on the subject of news, broadcasting, whether through the radio or television or earlier in the film on newspapers, bringing us up to the opening up of the media to private players. And what has happened in the last 20 years, we're completely familiar with. That is the world that we now live in. And from the box of the radio, which, you unpack and take out of a carton and stuff, we're looking at pen drives that you plug into your earphones and listen to radio anywhere, anytime. So, yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's, it's many things that these films do in terms of a study of the various documentary films that were made by a films division. Documentary as documentation, documentary as information, and everything else that, it set out to do. Before we all disperse, Ms. Damrit Gangar would like to invite the audience I'd like you to, in fact,
My book on Walter Kaufman is being released on 12th of October, next Saturday at 6:30, Max Muller Bhavan. Max Muller Bhavan has published this book. Walter Kaufman was a German musicologist and musician, composer, conductor who lived in Bombay for more than 12 years, in 1934 to 1946. And the signature tune that you just heard, All India Radio, was composed by him. This German man composed. Mehli Mehta played the violin, and D.M.L. or Dinkar Rao Membal played the tanpura. And that's how it came into being. What was also interesting, the way the Akashvani, Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai. That word Akashvani was first used by Rabindranath Tagore. In 1936, when Calcutta station of AIR was inaugurated, Tagore was he was the guest of honor, and he wrote a short poem in which he uses the word Akashvani. In Bombay, it was Sarojini Naidu who was present during the inauguration around that time. And she also wrote a beautiful short poem, 4 or 5 lines, ending with upward radio. So this is how, and all that history is part of my book. Walter Kaufman, very interesting character, very interesting gentleman who comes in around 1934 to India, to Bombay, straight to Bombay. And he worked with Mohan Bhavnani. The first film that Mukul showed us in our series was by Mohan Bhavnani, right? Mohan Bhavnani became the chief producer of films division, but he had produced several feature films in Hindi, like Prem Nagar, Yuti Sharam, Mazdoor, which was based on Premchand's story, was produced by him. Premchand lived in Bombay, the great Upanyaskar. All these stories are very interesting, and Mukul, you bring those moments back to. In fact, the last 15-20 days, we have been discussing radio on Humanities Underground, that group, on Facebook. All these, harmonium was banned by All India Radio once. Mr. B.V. Keskar was first Information and Broadcasting Minister of All India Radio. All India Radio was under him, and it is said that he was the person who banned harmonium, solo or percussion harmonium, because it was considered to be Besura instrument. It was a tempered scale. But it came back. In 1975, I think it came back, and it's now accepted, harmonium.
All India Radio banned the use of any Western instruments because it was considered anti-national and so on. At some point, at which point, many of the musicians coming from Goa and Bombay said, okay, we cannot compose marching music that you want us to play on 26th January and stuff using Indian instruments at all. So take it or leave it. So Western instruments had to come back at that point. So I think unless there are some burning questions, unless somebody is eager to come up with something, I'll call this session to a close. I'm also happy to announce that the FDZONE has just started a collaboration with 2 organizations. The first is the Canadian Consulate, and they'll be providing us films from time to time for screening as part of the FDZONE sessions here and everywhere else that the FDZONE screenings are starting off. And the other one is a distribution initiative called CNEX in China, distributing Chinese documentaries in China, Hong Kong and Taiwan. So we have access to some of their films, and we'll start screening their films in a couple of weeks. So look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.